The rich bride said, "Keep her away from my wedding." I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just smiled and said I understood. But when the groom saw my face at the church entrance, everything collapsed. In less than 5 minutes, her perfect wedding turned to ash. And I didn't even have to say a word. I've been invisible for years. That's the thing about being a domestic worker in someone else's mansion. You clean their floors, you fold their sheets, you hear their secrets, but they never actually see you. Not really. You're just part of the furniture, something that polishes the silver and disappears when guests arrive. I'm used to it. I've been working for the Morrison family for almost 2 years now. Mrs. Morrison is polite enough, the kind of polite that comes with a tight smile and very specific instructions. Mr. Morrison barely acknowledges I exist. He's always on his phone, always rushing somewhere important. And then there's Victoria, their only daughter, 26 years old, blonde, beautiful, in that expensive way where everything matches: hair, nails, handbag, attitude. She treats me like I'm a stain she's trying to scrub out. Every morning, I arrive at 6:30, let myself in through the side door, and start my routine. Kitchen first, marble counters, imported tile, a refrigerator bigger than my entire apartment. I make coffee, wipe down surfaces, set the table for breakfast. By 7, the family starts trickling in. Mr. Morrison grabs his coffee and leaves. Mrs. Morrison sips hers while scrolling through her tablet. Victoria shows up last, usually in yoga pants and a mood. She never says good morning, just looks at me like I'm an inconvenience she didn't order. One time, she asked me to redo the entire living room because I'd put a pillow at the wrong angle. I redid it. I always do. I need this job. I send money back home to my mother in Mexico. I'm saving for my own place, something small, something mine. So I keep my head down, I do the work, and I stay invisible. But everything changed 3 months ago when Victoria got engaged. The house exploded into chaos. Wedding planners, florists, caterers, photographers. Everyone coming and going at all hours. Victoria was in her element, ordering people around, snapping at anyone who didn't move fast enough. She picked a date, a venue, a theme. Everything had to be perfect. Everything had to scream wealth and elegance, and look at me. I'm marrying someone important. His name is Andrew Callahan. I'd only seen him a handful of times before the engagement, always from a distance. Tall, dark hair, sharp jawline, expensive suits. The kind of man who looks like he was born holding a business card. Mrs. Morrison loves him. She talks about him like he's a prize Victoria won at a charity auction. Mr. Morrison respects him, which in their world means he's rich enough to matter. Victoria parades him around like a trophy. I never paid much attention. Why would I? He was just another face in a house full of people who didn't see me. But then, one afternoon, Victoria called me into the sitting room. She was flipping through fabric samples with her wedding planner, a thin woman with red glasses who looked perpetually exhausted. I stood by the door, hands folded, waiting. Victoria didn't look up. She just said casually, like she was discussing napkin colors, "Make sure she's not here on the wedding day." The planner blinked. "I'm sorry?" Victoria finally glanced at me, her eyes cold. "Her! I don't want her anywhere near my wedding. Not serving, not cleaning, not even in the building." The planner looked uncomfortable. She opened her mouth to say something, but Victoria cut her off. "I don't want people like her in my photos. It'll ruin the aesthetic. People like her." I felt my face go hot. I wanted to say something. I wanted to ask what exactly she meant by that. But I didn't. I just nodded and left the room. I went to the kitchen, gripped the edge of the counter, and breathed. I'd been insulted before. I'd been dismissed, ignored, treated like I didn't matter. But this felt different. This was deliberate. This was cruelty dressed up as preference. I thought about quitting. I really did. But then I thought about my mother, about the rent, about how hard it is to find work when you're undocumented and your options are limited. So I swallowed it. I stayed, I kept working, and I told myself it didn't matter. It was just one day, one wedding. I could survive being invisible for one more event. If you're still watching, leave a comment and tell me, have you ever been treated like you didn't belong? Just type invisible if you have. And if you want to see how this story ends, make sure you're subscribed, because what happens next is something I never saw coming. What Victoria doesn't know, what none of them know, is that I knew Andrew long before she did. 10 years ago, I wasn't a maid. I was a college student. I was 19, working 2 jobs, taking classes at a community college, trying to build something better for myself. I wanted to transfer to a university, get a degree, prove that I could make it. That's when I met him. Andrew. He was 22, a business major at the state university, charming in that effortless way some people are. We met at a coffee shop where I worked the morning shift. He came in every day, ordered the same thing, black coffee, no sugar, and always left a good tip. One day he stayed. We talked. He asked about my classes, my plans, my life. He actually listened. Not like he was waiting for his turn to speak, but like he cared. We started meeting outside of work. Study sessions that turned into long conversations, coffee dates that turned into dinners, walks around campus that stretched late into the night. He was funny, thoughtful, ambitious. He talked about his dreams like they were blueprints. I talked about mine like they were prayers. For the first time in my life, I felt seen, not as a waitress, not as an immigrant, not as someone struggling, just as me. We fell in love. It was the kind of love that felt easy and impossible at the same time. Easy because we understood each other. Impossible because we came from different worlds. He was the son of a real estate developer, raised in country clubs and private schools. I was the daughter of a housekeeper, raised in a 2-bedroom apartment with 5 people and 1 bathroom. But when we were together, none of that mattered. He said it didn't. He said we'd figure it out. I believed him. For 8 months, we were everything. We talked about the future like it was something we could build together. He said he'd introduce me to his family when the time was right. I said I'd wait. I didn't mind. I was patient. I was hopeful. I was in love. Then one night, everything shattered. We were supposed to meet for dinner. He texted me last minute saying he couldn't make it. Family emergency. I didn't think much of it. But then 2 days passed. No calls, no texts, nothing. I went to his apartment. His roommate answered, looked uncomfortable, and said Andrew's parents took him home for the weekend. Something about a serious talk. My stomach dropped. I knew. I didn't want to know, but I knew. 3 days later, he finally called. His voice sounded hollow, rehearsed. He said his parents found out about us. They weren't happy. They said I was a distraction, that I didn't fit into his future, that I was holding him back. I asked him what he thought. There was a long silence. Then he said, I think they're right. I felt my heart crack in real time. I asked him if he loved me. Another silence. Then, I'm sorry. That was it. No fight, no defense, no us, just sorry. A week later, his mother showed up at the coffee shop. Immaculate suit, cold smile, envelope in hand. She sat across from me like we were negotiating a business deal. She said she knew about the relationship. She said it was inappropriate. She said I was clearly after his money. Then she slid the envelope across the table. There was a check inside. $10,000. She said it was more than generous, that I should take it, disappear, and stop contacting her son. I stared at that check for a long time. Then I looked her in the eyes and said, "Keep your money." I got up and walked out. I never saw Andrew again. I dropped out of school a month later. I couldn't afford it anymore and I couldn't focus. My heart was broken, my savings were gone, and my dreams felt like they belonged to someone else. So I did what I had to do. I worked, cleaning houses, babysitting, anything that paid. Eventually I became what his mother always thought I was, invisible help in someone else's life. I never forgot him, though. Some part of me always wondered what happened to him, if he thought about me, if he regretted it. I told myself it didn't matter, that he made his choice, that I'd moved on. But the truth is, you never fully move on from the person who made you believe in something and then took it away. So imagine my shock when I walked into the Morrisons' dining room one evening to serve drinks and saw him, Andrew, sitting at the table, laughing, holding Victoria's hand. My heart stopped. My hands shook. I almost dropped the tray, but I didn't. I just set the glasses down, one by one, calm, professional, invisible. He looked up. Our eyes met, and I watched the color drain from his face. He knew. He recognized me instantly. I saw it in his eyes, the shock, the panic, the guilt, but I didn't react. I just finished serving and walked back to the kitchen. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. I leaned against the counter, gripping the edge, trying to breathe. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening, but it was. Andrew, the man who broke my heart 10 years ago, was engaged to Victoria, the woman who treated me like dirt. The next few weeks were unbearable. Andrew tried to talk to me every chance he got. He'd follow me into the kitchen, whisper my name, try to get me alone. I ignored him, every time. I didn't owe him a conversation, I didn't owe him anything, but he was persistent. One day he cornered me in the hallway. "Please," he said, "just let me explain. There's nothing to explain," I said quietly. "You made your choice. That was a long time ago. I was young. I was stupid." "You were a coward," I said, "and you still are." His face fell. I walked past him and didn't look back, but Victoria noticed. She noticed the way he looked at me, the way he lingered when I was in the room. She didn't know why, but she knew something was wrong, and that's when she became even worse. She started criticizing everything I did, the way I folded towels, the way I arranged flowers, the way I breathed in her general direction. One afternoon, she pulled her mother aside and said loudly enough for me to hear, "I don't trust her. I want her gone." Mrs. Morrison tried to calm her down. "She's been with us for 2 years. She's reliable." "I don't care," Victoria snapped. "I don't want her here, and I definitely don't want her at my wedding." That's when the official ban came down. Mrs. Morrison called me into her office, looked uncomfortable, and said Victoria had requested that I not attend the wedding. She tried to soften it, said it wasn't personal, that they'd hired extra staff for the day. But we both knew the truth. Victoria wanted me gone. And Andrew said nothing. He stood by and let it happen, just like he did 10 years ago. History repeating itself. I told Mrs. Morrison I understood. I said it didn't bother me. I lied. "Hey, if you're still with me, thank you. I know this is heavy, but trust me, the best part is coming." Andrew's about to face everything he's been running from. And Victoria, She's about to learn that some people you dismiss have a way of reappearing when you least expect it. Hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss what happens next. The wedding was set for a Saturday in early June. I wasn't planning to go. Why would I? I'd been explicitly uninvited, but life has a strange sense of humor. The Friday before the wedding, Mrs. Morrison called me in a panic. The florist had an emergency and couldn't deliver the bridal bouquets to the church. She was frantic. The wedding was in less than 24 hours. Everything was falling apart. She begged me to pick up the flowers and bring them to the church the next morning. She'd pay me extra, a lot extra. I hesitated, but I needed the money. And honestly, a part of me was curious. I wanted to see it. The perfect wedding, the happy couple, the life Andrew chose over me. So I said yes. Saturday morning, I woke up early, picked up the flowers from the shop, and drove to the church. It was a massive place, white stone, stained glass, the kind of church that only rich people get married in. I parked in the back and carried the bouquets to the side entrance. I was planning to drop them off and leave, quick and invisible, just like always. But as I walked along the side of the building, I saw him, Andrew. He was standing at the main entrance, alone, adjusting his tie. He looked nervous, pale, sweating even though it wasn't that hot. I froze. I should have turned around. I should have left the flowers and disappeared. But I didn't. Something kept me there. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was closure. Maybe it was just bad timing. He turned, and he saw me. For a second, neither of us moved. Then he started walking toward me. My heart started pounding. I wanted to run, but my feet wouldn't move. He stopped a few feet away, staring at me like I was a ghost. "You came," he said, voice barely a whisper. "I'm delivering flowers," I said flatly. "That's all." He swallowed hard. "I need to talk to you." "There's nothing to talk about. Please," he said, and his voice cracked. "I made a mistake. 10 years ago. I should have fought for you. I should have stood up to my family. I should have chosen you, but I was too scared, and I've regretted it every single day since." I stared at him. "You think that changes anything? You think saying sorry now erases what you did? You left me. You let your mother humiliate me. And now you're marrying a woman who treats people like me like we're trash." He flinched. I know she's not." He stopped himself. "I don't love her." I felt my chest tighten. "Then why are you marrying her?" "Because it's what everyone expects. Because it's easy. Because I've been running from my mistakes for so long I don't know how to stop." I shook my head. "That's not my problem anymore." I turned to leave. He grabbed my arm. Not hard, just desperate. "I still think about you," he said. "Every day, every night. I never stop." I pulled my arm away. "You had your chance to fight," I said quietly. "You chose not to. Now you have to live with that." That's when I heard the scream, "Victoria." She came running out of the church, wedding dress billowing behind her, makeup perfect, rage in her eyes. "What the hell is she doing here?" she shrieked. Andrew spun around. "Victoria, it's not, she's just—" "Shut up," she snapped. She pointed at me. "I told you to keep her away. I told everyone. Why is she here?" "I'm delivering flowers," I said calmly. "That's all." Victoria laughed, sharp and bitter. "Flowers, right." She looked at Andrew. "Why are you talking to her? Why are you looking at her like that?" He didn't answer, and that silence said everything. Victoria's face twisted. "Oh my God!" Her voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "You know her, don't you?" Andrew looked at the ground. "Victoria, we need to talk." "No," she said, stepping closer. "We need to talk right now, in front of everyone. Who is she?" By now, people were starting to gather. Bridesmaids peeked out from the church doors. Groomsmen appeared on the steps. A photographer awkwardly lowered his camera. Mrs. Morrison rushed out, heels clicking. "Victoria, sweetheart, calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down," Victoria shouted. She turned back to Andrew. "Tell me, who is she?" Andrew looked at me one more time. Then he looked at Victoria. And he finally told the truth. "Her name is Elena," he said quietly. "I knew her a long time ago. We were together. I was in love with her." The crowd went silent. Victoria's mouth fell open. "You what? I loved her," Andrew said, louder now. "And I left her because I was too afraid to stand up to my family, and I've regretted it every day since." Victoria stared at him like he'd just slapped her. "You're telling me this now, on our wedding day?" He didn't answer. She turned to me, eyes blazing. "Did you know? Did you come here to ruin this?" "I came here to deliver flowers," I said. "That's all." Victoria laughed again, wild and unhinged. "This is insane. This is—" She looked around at the crowd, at her parents, at the bridesmaids frozen on the steps. "You humiliated me in front of everyone." Andrew reached for her. "Victoria, I'm sorry." "Don't touch me," she hissed. She ripped the veil off her head and threw it on the ground. "The wedding's off." She stormed back into the church. Her mother chased after her. The crowd erupted into whispers. Andrew stood there, frozen, staring at nothing. I set the bouquets down on the steps, and I walked away. He called after me. "Elena, please, wait." I kept walking. "Elena, I'm sorry." I paused at the edge of the parking lot. I didn't turn around. I just said, loud enough for him to hear, "You already apologized 10 years ago. But some doors, once closed, don't open again." And I left. 6 months have passed since that day. I don't work for the Morrisons anymore. I quit the next week. Mrs. Morrison tried to convince me to stay, said it was all a misunderstanding. But I was done. I was done being invisible. I found a better job working for a kind family who actually treats me like a human being. I'm saving money faster now. I'm taking online classes again. Slowly, carefully, but I'm doing it. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Andrew called off the wedding completely. He and Victoria broke up. She's still posting perfect pictures on Instagram, pretending everything's fine, but everyone knows the truth. He left town, apparently, moved to another state, started over. I don't know if he thinks about me. I don't know if he regrets what happened. But honestly, I don't think about him much anymore. Not with anger, not with longing, just with a quiet kind of peace. Because I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to shout or fight or get revenge. I just had to show up. And my presence alone was enough to shatter the lie he was living. Sometimes I think about that morning. The way he looked at me, the way Victoria screamed, the way everything collapsed in minutes. And I realized something. I spent years feeling invisible, feeling like I didn't matter. But the truth is, I mattered more than any of them wanted to admit. I mattered so much that just seeing me was enough to destroy a wedding. And that's not revenge. That's just the truth finally catching up. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think I should have stayed silent? Do you think Andrew deserved to have the truth explode right in front of him? Or do you think I should have just walked away and let him live his lie? Drop a comment and let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe because I have more to share. Stories about survival, strength, and what happens when invisible people finally get seen. Thank you for listening. And remember, some doors close for a reason.